Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As always, we've got something really, really special. Um, we've been doing gameplay videos and talking about the meta, and I'm just really excited to be partnering with Fragster. Those of you who might know, I'll let him talk about himself a little bit, but just a player and a person who has been really contributing so much to the community. And as I've talked about on this channel, it's just so great that there are so many people who are, we're not getting paid to do this. Like, you're just putting work into it because you're passionate and you love doing it. So today, what we're doing is we're going to be looking at the 5 matches that Fragster had played in the first clan war, which is something he completely generated himself and has worked on. And I know plenty of players who are partaking in it. So, but I don't want to steal his thunder too much and talk too much about it. So I'm just really happy that he's here and we were able to do it. So it's late for Fragster over there. So thank you so much for joining, Fragster. I'm super excited to get into these games with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. Yeah, like you said, I've created much. I've created the drafting. If you have ever played it, if you haven't, try it. It's really fun. And yeah, also I created a tournament structure. And right now we are playing 5 versus 5 matches. The first match is Spark Ignited versus the EH team. And I recorded all my 5 matches. And first we will go through my first match. And yeah, I start the recording. First, I've shown all my decks I'm playing. This is the first deck I took into the tournament. First, I should tell you a bit about the tournament. The tournament structure is 5 versus 5. Everyone plays against everyone. And I can see all my opponents here on the website I created. And here I can see my decks I brought to the match, to the tournament. And yeah, the structure is best of 3 for each match. Each player bans one deck, and after he banned one deck, the other 2 decks will be played with, and the player who wins with both his left decks will win the match. So if you win with one of your decks, you can't play it again, and yeah, that way you play a best of 3.
Yeah, very cool format. I really like the idea of being able to ban decks and having to, really have a bit of a mastery, not just of one deck, but of several. Um, it's a lot more matchups that you have to know, right? If you win your match with Garruk, but then you're going to play with Nissa, you have to be able to kind of understand how some of those matchups are going to play out. So, and the site looks great. I mean, the whole construction of it just really looks awesome. So, yeah.
Happy to say that you say that, but I'm not really good at design. I'm very good at techniques and at yeah, the whole backend part of the site. But for the front end, I just used basic stuff. But it still looks fine. You're right.
It does. It does what it needs to do, and it's great that you
Yeah.
can see the whole deck list. So Garrick is the one that you've got here, and I like
Yeah.
some of the card choices here.
Yeah, Garruk is my first deck I played. Uh, it's my go-to band deck. The last tournament I played with band decks, I took one very strong deck, which I hoped all my opponents ban, and 2 other decks that I just love playing, and so I get to play them more. But this is also the deck with which I got to Mythic this season.
Ah, okay.
It's a little different from the Garruks that are running around. Like you can see, no Death Shadow in here. but I have a reason for it, because I'm trying to push as hard as I can. So I try to get so much pressure on the opponent that he can't start his game really by playing one cost creatures that have to be blocked or don't want to be blocked, like the Cranial Consultant. Then strong 2-drops like Detonator, the Curse Bearer, Bone Shambler as being, yeah, he's the worst of the bunch, but he's still pretty strong. And yeah, the MVP of Garruk by far, Drana.
Yep.
Drana is so strong in Garruk, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and just a bunch of removal like Barazufre, Flagrant Foul, and Grudge Match, and of course a Predator.
Oh yeah.
To help you get through. And yeah, and another creature many aren't playing is the Mongrel. It's with my plan to putting that much pressure on, it's great to have a haste creature here, with which I can push my damage through.
Absolutely. I think Vicious Mongrel is one that I myself have tried and worked on. And Bone Club Shambler, I will say, when it hits your Veil Curse Predator, it's just, or, Krav potentially, it really can be a nice 2-drop. So it's great to be able to hear a little bit of your process, because I think Garruk is the deck to beat right now, and there are different ways, like a lot of different ways to tweak it. So it's a good example of, how you've approached the deck, just really being very, very aggressive with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Death Shadow is still one of the best cards in this deck, but I just don't want to play it in this way I'm playing, because if I can't play a 2-drop or a 3-drop or 2 and a 1-drop on turn 3, because I have a Death Shadow in hand, which won't be played in the first 3 turns, I'm just stuck with it, and that doesn't feel good. And I'm playing I'm playing more removal than most decks, so I don't have the slots for Death Shadow in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I generally like to build my decks. I mean, I think most people do, but with not having any sort of dead or like bad draws, and definitely getting a Death Shadow stuck in your hand, not a great thing when you have that in your opening hand. So I think it is a really thoughtful choice to make the deck just kind of more aggressive, a little bit more powerful up front, even though you might sacrifice a little bit, right, with certain matchups or certain interactions. I think the logic is pretty sound there. And then we've got Ral. Man, it's been a while since I've seen Ral. Yeah.
My second deck of choice is Ral. I'm just a really big fan of Ral. I love playing him every season. I did miss one season without playing Ral. Even at Jace Winter, I created such an aggressive Ral deck that it could beat Jace without a problem. And that was really fun. But right now, I'm trying something different, because there are way more removal around. And the problem Ral has is that if Thing in the Eyes and the Magnum Opus is killed, Ral can't do much anymore. So I tried to create a list that is has a little more diverse options to go with, and you can see Ambitious Scholar, and I think many won't know what this card does. I think I have it in a second. I hope so, because it is a card that don't know. 1 second. Come on. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
And yeah, it's a 1/1 for 2, which turns into 5/3 if you summon an artifact. And with this list, I have 3 different artifacts that cost 1 mana: Bag of Tricks, Isochrone Scepter, and Skybar Stand, because of the Terran Academy.
Yep.
So I can play Ambitious Scholar, for example, turn 3 by playing him and one artifact right after him, and then I have a 5/3 plus an artifact, which is fun. Also, one interaction with him, if you play Tinker, you get a new artifact, and that will count as summoning an artifact. So the Scholar will flip then also.
I did not realize that, actually. That's cool.
Yeah, and just by playing those artifacts, like the Bag of Tricks, who gets you other creatures to play around with, and yeah, and having the Scholar and the Gidam Mage, you have more threats, so you don't burn out so fast like other RAL decks. You lose a lot of speed, of course, for the broken hands, but I think it's a little more stable this way, and it's way more fun. Because tinkering into the 5 mana artifact that draws 2 cards is just broken in RAL.
Oh, this deck does seem really, really fun. I haven't seen this specific kind of synergy with Tolarian Academy, and I'm super excited to see some games with it. That's going to be sweet.
And it still has an opportunity to have broken draws like Thing in the Ice, into next turn Magnum Opus, into Spark of Genius, into Unsummon to have just a broken board.
Yeah.
Still possible with this deck.
I like your choice too, Fragster, of get to Ember Mage as another way of attacking your opponent's life total instead of trying to run, Pyromancer, which really being at 4 mana just really got nerfed for Ral. I don't know if that's how you feel about it, but I like the get to Ember Mage choice.
I never, even though I think it was a stronger card at sometimes, I never liked the Pyromancer that much. I never played him very much. And after the nerf, it just got worse. You're right.
Yeah.
So, and the last deck I'm bringing is kind of my pet deck right now. I love to play with it. It's my Werewolf one turn kill deck.
You know, when I saw this for Extra, I just assumed it was Nissa. Like, when I was just scanning a list, I did not realize this was Vivien. Okay.
That's right. It's Vivien. And yeah, the strategy is to get haste with Vivien's ability, or Stoneforge Mystic, or Animal Arrow on Strat, and then haste win. That is the possibility number 1 to get the win. The second way to win is just overwhelming the opponent with all the werewolves. The werewolves are so strong right now. I think they could be way too strong right now. The Agiator foremost, he's just too much value.
Yep.
If you have Bird turn 1, and you can play turn 3 the Agiator, and it will flip, and then you have turn 4, you have 7 mana. That's just way too much. And if you have 2 broken gems, you can always play one of your werewolves with your normal mana, and you can get to flip them, and it's just way too strong.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of the werewolves have been very strong, and Agitator is just... It's just so easy to enable the flip, and just getting spotted to mana gems has really changed a lot of the pace of the game. And I'm very interested to see how this deck construction for Vivien works. I mean, I really like the idea of it. I mean, Ulrich is just excellent. Daybreak Ranger is just excellent. Same with Agitator. So I love that you're taking that kind of shell, putting it in Vivien, and also, utilizing Strahd as just an alternate win condition when Vivien can apply a ton of pressure. So.
And one strategy that many also don't know is, if you attack with any of your creatures, and you play your creature at the second main phase, and you have haste in your Vivien slot, it won't go on the creature. It will stay there. So you can kind of keep the haste for the turn where you get Strahd. As long as you have a creature you can attack with.
Oh, wow. Okay. Man, learning so many things. I don't think I ever encountered that or realized that. So.
Most of the time you don't need it because you want to attack the creature right away, but sometimes I just kept it to have the Strahd kill turn next turn.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Wow. Also, showing up with the full foil decks. God, I'm very, very jealous. I love it.
And it's really fun to play this deck right now. And the only deck that it really struggles with is sadly Garruk. So it's not really that meta. But before Garruk was released, I had a really good win rate with this deck. Just getting the Strahd out of nowhere is super fun, and it doesn't look like it, but it has this really strong shell against aggro. Just having the Circle of Druid with the Wolf gives me with my other 2 and 1 drops and round about 90% chance that I will have a 2-drop. I ran the numbers.
Wow.
And that's really great. In my first turn I can use the ability, then get a 2-drop and have something to enforce 2 turns. And my 3 slot is just broken. Stoneforge, Agiator, Hermit, it's Soul of the Wood, they are all really great against aggro. And if I get one of the 4 mana werewolves going against aggro, they just lose.
Yeah, I really like the construction of the deck. Like, and you pointed out, I think one of the most important things for Vivien, which is having those 2 drops and really applying pressure as early as possible. Yeah, all those 3 drops do quite a lot of work, and yeah, I'm very excited to see some really interesting deck builds.
So now I go to the website I created, MTG Spellslinger. There we have the tournament tab. And if you registered for a tournament, you get the current tournament, and there you can play your tournament. Like I said, here you can see your decks. If you've forgotten what you registered before you play the wrong deck, you can check it again here. And this game is against LolQOP, it seems. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can take a look at his decks and choose which deck I'd like to ban. I'm making them a little bit bigger for us to see. In 1 second. There it is.
Nice.
First we have Yanling deck. I don't think any of my 3 decks will ever struggle against Yanling. I can put up enough pressure and have enough removals for the flying creatures to just be irrelevant. So this was an easy choice. This won't get banned.
Yeah, you're like Yenling, bring it on.
Yeah. Then we have another Raw deck. This one is with Pyro and Bubble Shield, which I found very interesting. But also with Firemind Bolt, it's pretty much basic with Walling Flame and everything. My thought process was my Ra could lose to it, but my other 2 decks, Garruk and Vivien, should have a really good chance against it. So I think I can win against it, so I will let it I think I will let it through, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I will let it through. I will ban this.
Yep, I agree with your thought process there. That's for sure.
So the third deck is a Nissa, which is trying to really go big with Darigas, Epitome, Grim Echoes,
Huge. Jeez. Yeah.
with Circle of Druid, Grim Echoes combo, Crush of Worms. And the Circle of Druid, Grim Echoes combo is actually one of the combos that I can lose with my Vivien
Mm.
very often, that I lost to with very often. So I was really afraid of this combo, so I instantly said, goodbye, I don't want to play with against this.
Yep. I mean, this is such a great way, for folks to really hear, like, when you would ban certain decks or you're thinking about matchups, like, you really do want to have a feel. Like, okay, when I'm looking at this deck list, do I feel like it matches up well or not so well into the decks that you're playing? And I definitely agree. I think you've got a pretty good shot, to beat the other two decks. And Nissa, yeah, for Vivien, it's hard because you don't have enough. You might not have enough pressure to really outrace them, right? And then they get to drop these huge things with Grim Echoes, and with Rel, you might be able to out pressure them, but it's not necessarily a guarantee. And I think your thought process very sound there.
Actually, it's really easy to ban on the side. You choose a deck of three, push ban deck, and then you ban your deck. And my opponent also banned already, so I can see the result of the banning. If my opponent wouldn't have banned, it would be the info would be here that I still have to wait for the ban of my opponent. And one important note also, my opponent won't see my ban until he banned himself. So he can. So it's not like if you ban first, you have a disadvantage.
Oh, great! Well, very thoughtfully designed. That's awesome. Really didn't
And
want you to play Garruk, huh?
no surprise there.
Yep.
But it was also the plan, so everything's fine here. Yeah, and then we get into the first game. I play Ral first.
Awesome.
That is something I'm not really sure right now. If I should play the deck I think I win with, or the deck I think I lose with more. First, I'm not really sure about it right now. I think I should play the stronger deck, so Ra would be wrong here. But I could also be wrong about this. So
Yeah,
then,
I feel like that is hard to figure out what would be optimal, but
then with Discord we agreed on a duel code, and then we started the first match. Yeah, he takes some time, I think.
nice.
They go back too far. So it was the mirror, the first match.
Ah, okay.
Ra is Ra. So my procedure as Spark Genius is must keep in Ra.
Definitely.
Because it enables your 3 spells so well, and it gets you another spell that could be very strong. It's just too good. The MMH, most often than not, I put it back, but against Raal, with having the shocks, I saw his list, he has having the shocks, he has having the warding flames. Heat MMH is pretty strong as his 4 toughness and still being a threat. So I changed my mind and I kept it.
Yeah, I like this hand. I definitely hear you, Fragster, on like maybe having Ember Mage in your opening hand isn't as helpful to kind of get the ball rolling with having the 3 spells, but I think that's a good keep based on what you were saying.
Could argue about getting the shock out,
Yeah,
because there aren't that many shockable creatures in this deck.
yeah,
But
I think that would have been reasonable too.
in the first rounds are really impressive in the Ral mirror, doing nothing.
Just staring each other down. Yeah. Yeah. So I
The
guess
problem is playing a thing in the ice into an empty board is also really dangerous against Ral. Getting it
yeah.
killed before you can flip it is not optimal in this matchup. So you more often than not want to get it this way that you can play it and flip it in the same turn.
Yep. Definitely agree. You don't want to throw that away. So, man, if your Ebermage lives here, this is going to be an interesting turn next turn.
This is a great place I'm being right now. He's just drawing extra cards. Sure, he's setting up for a better turn, but right now I'm way ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping inside I don't want because my opponent, I don't want to give my opponent a card, even though it sets me up very well, but I have enough set up with Shock and the Spark of Genius. And getting extra cards is more important, and Dodge Dash is just a dead card in my deck.
And your Hatchet Plan is going to cost 2 here, so very, very easy to cast.
And I've nothing to shock, nothing to unsummon, so it's just a good turn. And I drew perfect with drawing one of the 1 mana artifact, so can get the ball rolling right away. Here, the regenerate isn't that bad. And the Invoke Dawn is also great because giving more power, toughness.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is the toughness here.
Yes.
Just getting them out of burn rage.
Yep.
And a 1 mana spell that I can just play is also great because it sets Ral's action up. Now my opponent is having a pretty good turn.
Yeah, and definitely good that you drew the unsummons to answer this. If it doesn't get bubble shielded, which I'm sure you're probably thinking about to the degree that that is in the deck and wondering maybe how to to just try and play around that. Really good turn for QOP for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, he's flipped the turn he played it. Yep. Wait for the turn where you can do this, just have the 4 toughness, because 3 toughness is more beatable than 4, just in this matchup.
Well, so many things to do.
Yeah. So that's one of my problems right now, because I don't really know what to do. I think about divination first. If I get Tinker, for example, I don't want to use my Isochrone.
Mm.
On the other hand, I'm thinking about just the Scholar just running out would be bad. I decided to just play the use Isochrone. But if I do get the Tinker, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I have so many spells in hand right now. Here I think about getting another buff, because buffs are great, but after some consideration, I take the card that is just awesome against Ral. Poison Veins.
Mm.
If you ever played Ral and you got this played against you, you know what the problem is. You want to play at least 3 spells a turn, so it's at least 6 damage to you if you want to have a normal turn, and that is just awful for you.
Yeah. I like that adjustment. I don't know that I would have considered the Poison Veins that much, but it does seem like it would be very, very efficient for what you're getting out of it.
And then I decided to not set up my creature because I didn't want to get the 1/1 in a way.
Yeah.
I didn't think buffing right now would also be that great because I can't make it that it can fight the 5/4.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do anything like that either. And on the other hand, I had to get rid of the creature before it gets too big, and he unsummons my creature and get through and gets too much damage in. So this was a thing I had to do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play the Poison Veins to go stifle his next turn, so yeah,
Yeah, I think you made the most out of that turn for sure.
and my opponent is already at 15 without me attacking that much, because just the Ember Mage is doing so much work. The Ember Mage is by far the MVP in this match.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's almost like you buy yourself a turn. Like, yes, they get their mastery out and they get their 5/4, but it really, you disincentivize them to play anything else. So
Yeah.
you really get to step on the gas, I would imagine, this turn.
The problem is that my Dragon Academy triggered, so I have only 5 mana.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, now I think about getting some stuff flipped. I played the buff first because I wanted to have the buff on the thing in the eyes. I didn't get it on the thing in the eyes, to get it on the scholar, but that's fine too. And then I was able to make the thing in the eyes flip the turn I play. And here I get just the perfect choice. I have 2 mana left.
Crimson
This is my
Raid.
second spell, so I can get Crimson Raid
Yep.
and kill the 5/4 sneak right away.
And you get to stun the other one. Yeah, this is
And the other one
such a
gets
good
stunned.
turn.
That was just the perfect card to get with a 0 mana day.
Yep. Yeah, being ahead on life, obviously in a RAL mirror match, is just like so incredibly important, and you're just up 12 life, and
Yeah, and it's also
essentially up
important
a
that
turn.
it's also important that I have 9 toughness on board, because you always have to think about the 10 to the face with the signature spell.
Yep, Chaos Lightning. Yeah, it's exactly trying to have. That's why, as you said earlier, the toughness of the card. How much damage it can take is so important in this matchup. Okay, got the repulse off the signature. Nice.
Of the class card, I assume.
Yep. Yeah, the one where you draft signature spells. Yeah.
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 We set my board here, which was pretty strong. Now I think a lot, but really I don't have to, because I have lethal in hand. With Guido Mage, I need to, and if I played 3 spells, I will do 4 damage to the face, and if one of the spells is shock, it's 6 damage to the face.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, probably regardless, you're just trying to get your Ember Mage back down anyway, and then kind of working from there. But yeah, you've got the Unsummon, you got the Shock. It's definitely plenty.
I think I take 1 more minute to be sure that I really have lethal.
As you should, as any good player would, being 100% sure.
Drawing the card even though I don't have to. Gain the spell book even though I don't need it anymore. And just winning the match.
And there it is.
1-0. So, now I've won with Ra, so I can't play Ra anymore. So now I still have to win with my Vivien deck.
Oh, I'm so excited to see this. I mean, both decks are cool, but this is very sweet.
He chose Ral again. He could have switched to his other deck, but he wants to get the Ral win first, maybe because he thinks if he gets the Ral win, he will win the other 2 or something like that. It's reasonable. I do this too sometimes. So we have a pretty not so optimal hand here. The Agiators is great, like we already said. The arrow doesn't do much. and Ra can be pretty aggro, so I have to have any defense in the beginning. So I put the rest away. I put the 3/3 reach that gives him life. It could be good in this matchup, but I put it away because I want removal first.
Yeah.
And second, I want to have a 2-drop. And with Mulligan, I get a higher chance of having 2-drop, and now I have it. And being on the draw is also great for the Agiators, because it kind of works like a bit of paradise. I have already a broken gem, and then I can play the Agiator on turn 3 and get it to flip.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this definitely looks like it's shaping up, and I imagine this matchup, like, unless you get really, really tempoed out, like somehow very far behind, I would think that the matchup is pretty decent for Vivien.
Yeah, right here I had the choice between the Wolf and the Tusker. Which one would you have played?
I think it's close. Like, being able to play the Wolf to get the second spell to kind of get, you know, get the ball rolling could be fine, but also you might not want to put that on the, in the top three cards of your deck. I think Tusker is correct. Also, it plays around Shock, so
Yeah, that
yeah.
is the most important reason, and that's the reason why I played Tusk. It's the Shock. I don't want to play the Wolf, especially in before the turn 3, where he can just Shock, play another one, get the 3/3 out, and just getting it strong.
Right. Right. You're taking away an option for them.
He kills it anyway, but he takes two spells, and that's just important. So there I realized that MMH isn't isn't having 2 toughness anymore. It has 3 toughness. Earlier I thought with the Fangblade I have an answer against Pyromancer, but I just don't have it. So I'm thinking about what to do. The logical way would be to get the Agiator out to have more mana. But I choose a different route here. I play the Wolf and sacrifice it to get the MMH. It looks really bad because I'm 2-for-1ing myself to get the mage out of the battlefield. But he had just 1 card in hand, and I thought the only way I can lose this is by letting this on the field and getting punished for it.
Yeah, I think that's very sound. I mean, for anyone, like, I played a ton of RAL in December when it was like, sort of tier one. And, for anyone who's played against Pyromancer, you know that if you let that stay on the battlefield, like, RAL can just get so far ahead with the free card advantage. And I think it's a tough choice, right? You could play Agitator, you could get the flip, but it doesn't really do anything, right? And the fact that it's a 5-1, it's just so easy to kill. So I think you make the hard decision, but the right decision to really kind of even the pressure where you're not going to get run over by Pyromancer and you're not giving up all that much, even though it is a 2-for-1.
Yeah. And here I already thought, I have to play Agiator, and I didn't really like it, right? But it's fine, and now I get to flip. I can play turn 4, it's great, and getting the Soul of the Wood is also great. Having a 3 toughness creature that also gets you life is good against Chaos Lightning.
Yeah, I think it worked out that you're not under a ton of pressure right now, and so being able to ramp and not be punished for it is a really good turn of events for just trying to stabilize and then start pressuring on your side of things.
Yeah. he's getting Signature and Element Mastery ready again. And he instantly drew it. Like you could see, he got 6 life of the draw spell, and he has no other 6 mana spell in his deck, so it has to be the signature spell. The Elemental Mastery.
Yes, very, very, very nicely deduced there.
So yeah, this is something I did. I played the creature, and afterwards I used Vivien's ability. This is because I'm looking for haste, and if I would have done it the other way around, I wouldn't have gotten the haste. And I would have gotten the haste. I would have a hasted werewolf, which I don't want right now. So that's why I use the ability afterwards. And it's working out fine for me because I don't need the 3 toughness right now on the creature. 5/4 is already strong enough.
Yeah, very, very interesting play pattern, and I think it's a cool way of playing Vivien. It's a little bit of a different flavor. So this turn they hit their land, and I'm sure trying to figure out how they can start taking back control here. And Mana Surge is one of the best enablers for the most explosive turns for Ral. Yeah, so that's a really unexciting turn. Huh.
Yeah, it was a really bad turn for him, and it's good for me in this spot.
Yeah, you got your tracker to just take out the 5/4, but you can just swing if you want to and just offer the trade as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about if I want to play Barkite before or after attacking. I choose before just to get the 1 damage more, and then if he trades, it's fine for me.
Yeah, and you're thinking about maybe playing the Soul of the Wood to get the toughness buff here, maybe.
I want to play the tracker right now. I want to get this 5/4 off the board. I don't want to get more damage, but I can try to give him the trade, and if he doesn't want to, can play the tracker. It would have been fine either way. If he traded, I would have played the Soul of the Wood. In this way, I played the tracker, so I had options for both, for all the things that could happen. So I was pretty happy at that moment.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of the best of both worlds. I'm a little surprised that they didn't trade with your 6/5 Wolf, but I guess because they were at 31, pretty healthy life total, they could just take the damage and try and out pressure you. But you had the tracker to really, really punish that.
Yeah. So that was a pretty good spell he got.
Yeah. Yeah, body and soul off Scalper Stand.
And that way he can, get great toughness here. Get great blockers. And try to stabilize. So it was a good spell he could get.
And you got the Brontosaurus. That's a pretty good one to have. You're just curving out perfectly, really, from that turn on.
And one thought process I had there, I could have used the ability just to have more rolls on the haste for Strat, because next turn I would have gone to 10 mana anyway. But I didn't do it because he has a 1/1 flyer and it won't die this turn. So if I get the Strat combo, he could just block the 1/1 flyer, and that would be just bad for me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that thought process. Yeah, so it's really looking like it's going to come down to the next turn or so to see who's going to really take this game.
It doesn't look bad for me.
No, it does not. It's looking pretty good on your side of things. I mean, Rooftop Laboratory can do a lot of work. Bouncing Tracker, never something you want to be doing, but
But it's the right choice because with the Chaos Lightning, it's the perfect amount of damage he's doing to get exactly the Bonto from off the field.
Absolutely. That was a pretty excellent answer for what you were doing there.
Yeah.
Whew. Daybreak
And again,
Rangers.
a great top deck here. Getting the 5/4 so easily out of the way. It's just awesome. Now I'm counting my mana. I have 5 non-broken mana. And I thought about I could use ability and get one of the creatures down, or I could lose arrow and one of the creatures, or I could play 2 creatures. But I think I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to break the mana games. So I use ability. Looking for haste here, because with haste I just win.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, you're taking the turns maybe a little bit more, conservatively, but yeah, right. So there's the second Chaos Lightning. Obviously, a little scary to see that, but
And he's been a little bit unlucky. Yeah. I had 4 toughness on the board, and this was a 10 lightning, so it should have cleared the board, but one of them stayed. I have 5 toughness, so it was a 50-50 chance.
yeah.
But I was lucky. One of them stayed, and that way I'm able to block and have 2 damage more, have 2 defense more, and get a creature off the board.
Yep.
So that was a bit lucky for me. And I just don't want to get further down with my life, because if he gets another Chaos Lightning of the 0 mana spell, I would just be dead here.
Yep. And you're not going to get that much more out of a 5/1 at this point in the game anyway. So I really like... It's kind of like when Chandra has all of your stuff at 1 toughness. You'd kind of rather just trade them off and, utilize their ability to trade with something, because you know that as soon as they get Flame Shot or Warding Flame or something like that, it's just going to be a complete disadvantage for you. So I 100% agree with that block.
Yeah, here I don't try to get the hastes, because this turn is awesome anyway.
Yeah.
Getting the creature out and getting the thing for free. And yeah, I wouldn't have gotten the haste anyway. And here, this is just an awesome draft.
Jeez, yeah.
Which one of the 3 best creatures do you want? And I take the haste creature, because I'm so far ahead and I just want to finish the game.
Yeah. Well, Ulrich is just such a good card. I mean, it's a 5/5 haste for 5. You're getting a free card off of it. Sometimes you hit a Daybreak Ranger off of it, and you're just like literally high rolling, and it's just incredible. So
here I have many possibilities of what I can do.
Yep.
I start with Ulrich. I have enough mana. I check what I get haste here. And I get another creature.
Get a Brigand off of that? Wow, yeah, I mean, definitely very over at this point. But
yeah, and now I have Sneak, so if there would be another turn, Strat would come down with Sneak Haste, then the next turn would be a definite win, regardless of what he does this turn.
Yep. Very, very solid match 1. They do hit the lab, okay.
Yeah, that's one way for them to still win, but yeah, they, like I said, they could have unsummoned my whole board, or could have gotten with the 0 mana spell, could have gotten another wave and killed my board. There were possibilities of how they could get back into the game on the board, but my hand was just lethal the way it is.
Yeah.
So even if they had the nuts and gotten out of it, they would have died next turn.
Yeah, definitely got close here. Really quite the game.
And now this, you really
Wow.
put the pressure on.
Jeez.
Yeah, I make block the maximum way I can. Just so it's as little damage as I can, but
Yep.
at that point it's over. I have, because I had sneak on the ability, the
Good game.
Stormford Mythic that came back because I had Relentless, got sneak, and so I have 5 power sneak to finish him off on the board.
Yep, that'll do it. Nicely done. Very nicely done.
Yeah. And then I enter the result on the website, submit the result, and if both players submit the result, the same result, it will be in the tournament overview, which everyone can see. So if you're going to my site right now and go to tournament overview, you can take a look at how the teams are doing right now.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think that will be it for today. It's really late here, and
Yes.
I have to go to bed.
Fragster, thank you so much. I know the time difference is pretty huge, so and working with my schedule, things have been pretty crazy. So thank you so much for being here. We can definitely touch base, see if we can do a bit more work together. But you're doing so much for the community. I just really want to point out how awesome that is that you've just taken it upon yourself to create these things and really breathe a lot of life into a game that I think a lot of us are feeling a little bit that we need some new stuff. So you've really done quite a bit, and it was great to hear your thought process, your deck builds, see these matches, and I know we have more matches we can take a look at, so we'll see if we can loop back. But thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I had really fun. Thank you for the kind words, and yeah, if this gets good reviews, we can definitely do the rest of the matches also.
All right, that's everybody's got to like and comment and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you, Fragster. We'll definitely circle back and appreciate you for all you're doing, and get some sleep.
Yeah, I will.
All right, take care.
Bye.